EGM Network.
Welcome to the Lori Davis Show, where it's all about the amazing lifestyle on our Treasure Coast. And here's your host and realtor for life, Lori Davis.
Hello, and welcome to the show. We are so happy that you're here with us today. We have a special guest in the house, someone that I have known for many, many years, who is someone who makes me feel really good. She takes care of me in ways nobody else can. We have Melissa Dean in the house. I do want to introduce her, Cindy, right out of the gate, because it's just, you got to let everybody know, and so they can wait to get through my housekeeping that I need to do. But welcome, Melissa Dean from Dean Wellness.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, God, we're so glad to have you here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, lifestyle is what I talk about on the show, that Vero Beach, the reason why people are here is because of the lifestyle. It's Indian River County is primarily where I work, though I'm licensed in the state of Florida. I can go anywhere as well. You can as well, right?
Correct.
Your practice here in Vero Beach. But what people do is they come to Vero Beach, and Indian River County is just so unique. I have clients come in and they're like, oh my God, this place is amazing. And if you look at the three places that we have, Vero Beach, Sebastian, and Felsmere. Now, your address is going to be one of those, but maybe you're not in the city of Vero Beach, but your address is Vero Beach. That's called Incorporated. That's the Indian River County Incorporated. But so just talking about lifestyle and pace of life. So if you're going to be in Vero Beach, or you're thinking about Vero Beach, you're listening to the show or watching this show on YouTube, it's known for its upscale coastal lifestyle, boutique shopping, fine dining, vibrant arts, and culture. We have just...
And great doctors.
And fantastic doctors. No, we have the best doctors. They are the best. That was coming up. That was. Yeah, because it is. No. Well, it's because it talks about the pace of life.
Right.
And it is. Yeah. And the pace in Vero Beach, it's ideal for retirees. Mm-hmm. I mean, the place at Vero Beach, we got a lot of seasonal residences. We have a lot of professionals, people still working. Mm-hmm. So at all those ages, we've got people. And so in Vero Beach is this little community. It's kind of tucked by the beach. But we go all the way to the mainland. I mean, Melissa's got a beautiful ranch with gorgeous horses. She's got the Clydesdales out there when the season is right.
I got to go out.
Yes. Well, and she does Christmas rides. Okay. On her sleigh with the Clydesdales at Christmas time. So you can see all of this. But the medical field, you know, and that's been a topic. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are talking about it, right? They're saying people are concerned about it.
Correct.
Because a lot of what's been going on, we're not going to mention anybody in particular, but if you're in it, if you live in Vero, you know what everybody's talking about. So there have been a lot of doctors who are unavailable, or doctors that people don't want to go to who are affiliated with a large corporation. Mm-hmm. And it used to be Vero Beach, our medicine was not so corporate. It was more based on patient-based medicine. And I think, Melissa, that's more of what you do, don't you think?
Absolutely.
That's the way you come at your business?
I've worked for years at actually keeping my practice smaller than some of these large practices, simply because, you know, I don't want to, lose that patient care and know who my patients are and such. And the larger you grow, the less control you have over your own practice and how it's run and how many people you see. And you know, a lot of people will join these corporate level kind of companies and stuff because of the security and, you know, get tail end of your career and stuff. Sure. And you find out it's more about the numbers than it is about the patient care. So,
yeah, I mean, that's it. They'll tell me, I have a lot of friends who are doctors too. And they're like, they want me to be 5 minutes with my patient and 15 minutes with my paperwork.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like medicine to me.
Correct.
It's not really what the type of medicine that we were used to. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, even if you weren't in Vero Beach, I think other people come from out of town. Mm-hmm. And they've said to me, I'm not sure about this town. And I'm not sure if I'm going to stay because I can't get in to see a doctor for 6 months,
right,
or something like that. Now, you can get in to see Melissa Dean. We have her phone number at the end of the show. Right. Well, let's just get out that phone number. I'll start it. I can start giving you that right now. It's 772
567 1500.
567 1500. Start calling. She has a PA there that takes Medicare, which I think is great because there's a lot of people who are on that. I'm going to give away my age. I'm on it this year.
Are you?
I am.
All right.
In August. I'm so excited.
Leo.
I know.
Yes.
Well, and I know it costs money. We talk about it does cost money. You're not getting out of Medicare without paying something.
Correct.
But my husband's paying $1,500 a month for me.
Yeah.
There's no way we're getting a raise.
Yeah.
I don't care what we got to pay. It's not going to be $1,500.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're very excited about that. Now, it's talking about towns. Now, we talked about Vero Beach, what the vibe was, what the pace of life is. Now, Sebastian, what's Sebastian like? Well, it's more laid back, small town vibe for sure. If you've been up there, it's definitely a fishing town. I think they had a sign that said it's
the 6 grumpy ones?
Yeah. It's a small town with a small fishing town with 6 grumpy guys or something like that.
Yeah, they've done stories about who the actual grumps were, and I don't think anyone ever came up with a.
Is that? Yeah. No, I don't.
Yeah.
But there's always one to replace one guy if he leaves.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next in line.
That's right. But they have that riverfront there, and I think that's kind of it. And
Chill.
then it's so chill. It's more casual, community focused, festivals, local bars, local pride. Again, there are a lot of retirees that are up there. I know my parents retired up there back in the late 90s, and there really wasn't anything very much there at all. But in the 90s and 2000s, a lot of firemen, a lot of policemen from up north found that spot, and they've been obviously very, very happy there. They've populated it nicely with their family and friends, and but it's a little fisherman's town. It really kind of feels that way, and that's nice because people are like, yeah, no, Vero, it's not really my jam, but I like Sebastian. Well, then we still got Felsmere.
You know what? I was just going to interrupt you and say that I read an article just today online about them, whoever they is, pushing Felsmere and the fishing, the stick marsh and all that stuff. I was wow.
Yes, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
So my research, and if you didn't know about Felsmere in Indian River County, it's west of Sebastian. So it's very agricultural out there. I mean, that's what you're going to find out there. It's rural, it's agricultural, known for its country charm. It's more, country like. It's not, it's not the city. It's not all the traffic. It's not, and it's, they don't have the Publix and they don't have all that. You got to get into town to do that. But that's why people are there. Wide open spaces and a lower population.
Yeah.
So people are there because they want a bigger piece of land.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to say 5 acres, 10 acres.
Yes. Yeah. It was
Absolutely.
like space, quiet, rustic lifestyle, equestrian, hobby farms. There's a lot of people out there doing some fun stuff. I had some friends that were doing bees. They were growing honey out there. I don't know if you call it growing it, but they were making it. The bees were making it.
The bees are making
they were
it.
taking it.
Yeah, we're taking it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's kind of cool. It's definitely a different place, and but there are people that want that. There are people that want that. So I love that Indian River County gives everybody a little bit of a taste of all of that, which I think is great. Now, I had a little bit of information here. I was going to talk about the housing, but I'm going to save that for another day because I want to get back to Melissa. Melissa, one of the reasons, and I think that a lot of people know you for one of the things that you do and do very well is it's called HRT. People hear that word and like, what is that? Well, that's hormone replacement therapy. That's what that means. And Melissa Dean does a fabulous job of that. And I want you to tell us a little bit about it. There's bioidenticals, there's give us an eye open. For somebody who doesn't know, they're like, oh, wait, this is turn up my radio or turn up the TV. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I always say it's my hormone 101 talk, honestly, when a patient comes into me. So I try to explain to them that there's difference between the bioidenticals and synthetics, because there's a lot of hype that came around from Women's Health Initiative study that came out many years ago. I say as I age, it seems like it was like 8 or 9 years ago, so it's probably 15. But
exactly, time flies.
Right. Where they said, get these hormones off the shelf. We're hurting our women, the cancers and things along those lines. And luckily, some of the other OBGYN organizations in the United States went and looked at and found out that study was flawed. It was based on elderly patients that shouldn't have had hormones and on synthetics and stuff, where the bioidentical is completely different. These are just essentially what nature gave you in your body naturally. That as we age, is depleted, both in men and women. So the structure of the molecule itself is exactly the same as nature, whereas some of the synthetics did not.
Okay.
And they found out that since there were something different in that molecule, that it actually was causing problems in people. So.
Right.
And we just try and augment nature, honestly. Right. And females, I always tell women, we're a symphony.
Right.
Guys, testosterone, watch it, whatever, right. more, or whatever, things along those lines. Where for us, it's so individualized, which is what I love about this kind of medicine, is everybody is so different. Every age is different. Every stage of life is different. And then, people's personalities and activities and what they want out of life is different. So it gives me the advantage, to get to know people. Sure. And then different methods to actually administer the hormones and try and help people age gracefully. Right. I can remember my first conference many moons ago that I went to try and learn this simply because I was going through issues myself in my 40s, and somebody sent me to a doctor, and I was explaining how he's more angry and easily irritated and not safe on US 1, kind of situation. And luckily there was still a clutch. I was young enough, I still had a clutch in my mouth, but it's not who I was, And I remember an old guy looked at me and said, you just need some progesterone. And I was like, what? We're not taught this in medical school. Right. And so he explained to me how he had learned it because his wife had been going in, and he said, I either had to fix her or divorce her. Right. So I looked at him, he said, yes, I'm still married. He said, I've been married like 40 some years. Yeah. And just how much of a change it made in me as I was like that perimenopausal phase. And then as one of the few females in practice in this county when I started 20 years ago. I mean, like two or three of us. Yes, that's right. This is definitely an old boys' place around here. And the females would all come to me. And I always tell people it's so funny because I'm such a tomboy, honestly. Probably
I think that's why you and I get along so well.
Probably picture Harley better and I can put on your makeup, whatever. But, all these women would come, and I realized, so much of it is hormone, hormone related and stuff. And to understand, a lot of people don't need the antidepressant in their 40s and 50s. They just need the hormone replacement to age gracefully. True. Keep your memory with you. Try and it can actually help prevent urinary incontinence, keeps you energy, intimate relationship with your spouse. I mean, all these things. If you're going to live for a longer time, to keep all the zest towards life is I think a really neat thing.
It really does really work. And I remember when that came to that point in my life, my doctor had said, and I think it was just somebody I talked to before you because they didn't do it for me. I came to you for my hormone replacement, but they were like, what does your husband say? Because I'm like, I think I'm losing my mind, right? You're a high-functioning woman or, individual, whomever, whatever your life is, whether you're a writer like Cindy, whether you're a realtor like me, all of a sudden you're high-functioning and then all of a sudden it's like everything goes haywire. Yeah. Right. And I go, well, he said he's afraid for me. And she said, well, we can fix that, and it can be done. And it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So it was staying on hormone replacement. There's different types of ways that you can use it. Correct. Right. I like to do bioidentical subdermal pellets. Pellets. Okay. Talk about the different ones you have and what they're used. Tell us what they can find. Okay, yeah. It's their choice. So what do they want to use? Right. Because there's different costs monthly. There's, the pellets, as you mentioned, the pellets require a tiny little incision. We put those pellets subcutaneously in the upper outer buttock area and stuff. The pellets are very nice simply because it's kind of a no-brainer. I come up with the dosing of it, put those in, and last the average woman 4 months, give or take, somewhere, depending on how much stress, how much they exercise, things along those lines. But you're not applying or taking something every day. So that makes it a bit easier. And then you can use topical creams. I always tell people that always sounds hokey because we're so usually fixated on pills, to take things, which honestly, taking things oral is the worst method. It is. That's what I've heard. Our stomachs are so inflamed and we have other meds and all these things that these proton. They're trying to find their way to get to you to get to do the right thing, right? Yeah. So, but that's available to, so you can do patches of this and you can do capsules of something, injections of other things. I said, for me, it's more with the easiest to manage. So you can do topical creams, very effective, honestly. Fairly cheap, put in lipid base, all natural, that you have to apply every day. You do have to be a mature, responsible adult because you have to apply it every day. Yeah, it doesn't work if it sits on the counter. No, nor under the pillow, from what I hear. There you go.
And then there's another one. It's called troche, which is a sublingual that you sort of hold in your jawline under your tongue, and it takes a little while for that to dissolve. But again, for some people, that's better because each one has its pros and cons.
Right.
The creams, you start using those, you don't want to start handling children, your grandchildren, animals, and things, and transfer it to them. Things along those lines. So it really is contingent upon the person's lifestyle and their pocketbook and such. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I wanted everybody to know that because it's not just like I said, the way that I like to do it is I'm too busy. I'm not going to remember all that. Let's just get it done and then move on. And for other people that might need it in different modalities and different styles, definitely, you come to talk to Melissa Dean, and that's what it's all about. You're going to get the time with Melissa. You're going to be able to sit down and talk about what it is that you need, and they're going to put it together. But it usually starts with a blood test, right?
Oh, correct. Yeah. It's
We're not just guessing. Yeah. No, there is this is something that's,
It's not a one size fits all kind of situation. No. It has to be managed properly because it is certainly not more is better. And it's truly, you have to, I check blood levels depending on which method you choose to use, but I keep in touch with the patient at least every 6 months, say with creams, checking the levels and seeing how things have changed. Because again, with stress, with weight loss, weight gain, other medications and stuff, those dosings necessary may change. With the pellets, I typically every 4 months, I'll get labs so I can dose to do the next round of pellets and such. So.
Right. I might be ready. I move around a lot. I burn through those babies. I love it.
Should I call the husband?
Yeah, I'm gone for 2 weeks. Maybe I'll wait till I get back. No.
Should we notify Europe you're coming?
Exactly.
First?
That would be a good idea. That would be a great idea. No, but the thing about it, too, that I wanted to talk about this is not just for women.
No.
Men, too.
No.
So they have their hormonal changes in life. Just it's not as much of a symphony as you say.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about that. Do you have men in your practice?
Oh, absolutely.
I see the names. I don't know them. But
say if I were to guess, it's probably like 60-40 split.
Okay.
Because the women are braver. I have to say. I don't want to sound sexist by any means, but the women, because again, we're
fixers. We're going to fix this.
Yeah, and we hit crazy. The crazy meter goes up pretty quick in our 50s. So we seek help. And then I'll get the wives feeling good, and then they'll send in the husbands and stuff. But the husbands are a lot easier, but it's also much more subtle in a man as the hormones decrease.
Okay.
Again, because it's usually just less energy.
Yes.
It may be a little more anxious than it used to be, but it's not usually so much an emotional thing. And guys honestly think as long as they can have an erection that they have enough testosterone.
Right.
And that's not really actually even true.
Right.
But I always sort of give this little synopsis of if you ever watched As Good as It Gets with
yes. Oh my God, the comedian.
Yeah,
I know.
And he's walking down the hallway in his bathrobe and grumpy and whatever, and you kind of look back and say, well, where did I go? You know, when I was younger, I wasn't like this. And so that's
Jack Nicholson.
Yes, there you go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Just give me a minute.
There you go, right? It's testosterone's going low and you need with the memory.
I need it. I told you I was in need.
But it's so true. It's like for a man, it's just, after dinner, they're ready to sit on the couch and go to sleep, and the moods change a little bit and stuff like that. The weight goes on. And if you're working out, you can't build muscle, can't lean out and stuff like that. So, but usually the woman comes in, and then he has trouble keeping up with the wife.
Oh, that's right. That's right. What did you do to her?
Right?
Give me what she's got.
Well, I usually tell the woman on the way out, just don't hurt the husband until he gets here.
That's it. Jim always knows in advance. Yeah. I'm going to see Melissa Dean. Anyway, we have to pay for this with the commercials. We need to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with Melissa Dean from Dean Wellness Institute. Be right back.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Sofas, love seats, dining sets, bedroom groups in the latest styles and colors from Four Seasons, Braxton Color, Riverside, Hooker, Capri, Tommy Bahama, and more. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have anything you need for your outdoor living from Lloyd Flanders, Kingsley Bate, Brown Jordan, and Woodard, including a gallery of maintenance-free furniture from Berlin Gardens and Pollywood. Right now, during our summer savings event, we have lots of great half-price specials, including 50% off on all in-stock Universal Coastal Living collections. And all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Don't forget to visit our outlet and sales store directly across the street that is filled with name brand closeouts, and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Blue Dolphin Pools strives to provide quality service with a well-trained staff in the field and in the office. They want you to know that your pool or spa investment means much more to them than just another account. They believe you have entrusted them with your investment, and they'll do their best to see that it stays in top condition. Blue Dolphin Pool has been in business over 35 years, setting them apart from the competition. Residential or commercial, Blue Dolphin will keep you in the swim. 567-5853.
We are here with Melissa Dean, who fixes all of us, men and women.
The fixer.
The fixer. That's going to be. That's what we're going to put the next time we have her on, Cindy. We're going to have underneath it the fixer.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
Okay.
All right. I like that. I like that. So we were talking at the break about bioidentical hormones, anti-aging, regenerative medicine. Tell us about how all this works in together.
So when a patient comes to me, I tell them my approach, because I wish if I just balanced out hormones and got them feeling better, that was all they would need to stay healthy and stuff. But there are other things that really incorporate into the body to keep somebody healthy and energetic throughout as they age. I look at people and I say, one is where are you at hormonally? Mm-hmm. Two is where are you at nutritionally? Okay. 3, is there any need for detoxification? I always jokingly say, if you're from around here where you're chasing the mosquito, spraying truck when you're a kid with DDT or something like that.
Sure.
Or were you born, I'm Pennsylvania, born and raised beside 3 Mile Island.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you don't know.
Right. And do you exercise? The body was meant to move.
Right.
And then honestly, where are you at spiritually and emotionally in your life? If you roll over every day and say, oh gosh, she's still here.
Yeah.
That's kind of draining on the glands, So that's kind of how I look at everybody. So, I typically, my average patient, I look at the hormone levels and where they're at depending on perimenopause versus menopause and things along those lines. We do nutritional panels, micronutrient panels to find out where your vitamins, amino acids, antioxidant levels are so that we can check and keep your immune system strong. And also on that panel are a lot of things that help your body to just detoxify from being alive because, life has changed. The electronics and the food sources, we could get into all kinds of things as to what we put into our body and things along those lines. So those are the big things that I check for people, and the willingness to change. And honestly, if, there are people who have other diseases and problems, again, we can manage sometimes just through proper nutrition, so get like, on the people who say, well, I'm on the edge of diabetes. Well, that's, you've got control. That's where you've got control. Right. So I think the more those 5 areas are balanced out, the better the person feels as you age. And again, one of the first seminars I went to was a lady standing up in front of me, and she said, if when you're going to hit a certain age and you don't want to not know who you are and you don't want to be peeing in a diaper. Right. And so the hormones can help prevent some of that, as you age. And, aging gracefully, again, more is not always the best way, things along those lines. So it's all about balance and proper management.
Well, and, that's the thing is that if you come in and understand all of that, now they may not listen to you. Right. Sometimes, but there are... there are different therapies for each one of those 5 factors that you can do. And, I think that sitting down with you, Melissa Dean, is one of those things. And you can have a consult, right? Yeah, just come in and have a chat and just sit down and say, hey, where am I? Let's do some blood work. And how can we change things or not? They wouldn't be walking in the door if they didn't want to try something, right? Correct. And so I think it's the interesting part is, getting in to see you. And they should be asking for you initially, right? Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I tell people, honestly, you'll probably find my office, and again, not everybody knows my background. I was a nurse practitioner before I went on to medical school. So for me, the nursing component is that you have the right to do whatever you want with your body. Right. And I'll educate you if you're going to be harmful or whatever, but I can give you all the information. If you don't want to utilize it, that's completely up to the patient. You have the right to do that. So, that's right. But most people come into me and they want help and, and are willing to listen to the information and try.
Well, if you want the help, I can tell you, Melissa Dean. Call the fixer. Call the fixer. Okay, Melissa Dean, Dean Wellness Institute. 567-1500. Of course, it's 772. That's Melissa Dean at the Dean Wellness Institute. Melissa, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. Your information is so helpful to so many people, and your work you do is so much helpful to so many people, including myself. Thank you so much for being here. Tell Don I said hello, her wonderful husband. We can say shout out to Don. And you guys be safe out there. Have a great day. We'll see you here next week. Be good and stay safe. Bye-bye.